Have you ever noticed how everything feels just louder lately? The expectations, the timelines, the pressure to keep up. Today, I want to invite you into a softer place, one where you don't have to fix or force anything. Just listen. I'm Amanda Beth, and this is my Transformation Tuesday. I like to share tidbits of healing and theta healing and just kind of life experience to hopefully get through some of those rougher days and give you some of what has worked for me and kind of the read and the pulse of what I'm getting. So just sharing that information with you. So before we begin, I want to invite you just to arrive, not who you need to be today, but who you already are. Just, it's like showing up in your bathrobe and just being kind of that morning time when everything is peace and quiet. You might have to get up before the kids to find that, but just find that quiet space. There's been so much noise in the world lately in our minds and our expectations of ourselves. So let's not worry about fixing it. Let's kind of look at what's underneath. What drove us to this part? I know every year in the last few years I've created a word of the year. What is my mantra? Um a couple years ago it was legacy, and that's where I got a lot of the legal stuff, the trust and setting things up for how my business moves forward. Last year, 25, my word was connection. And that word was about honoring the connections that I already had, using the tools and the pieces that I already have, not chasing shiny objects, not taking 72 more courses and adding to my long list of certifications, but connecting with who I am and where I am and bringing forward all those skills and all those things that I already have and to stop chasing. I've done pretty good with this. I haven't added any certifications. I've taken a few courses here and there, but I've also given myself the honor of respecting that I don't really need more information. You can only talk about so many things that you do and be proficient at so many things. And so I just really want you to step back and honor that. And if somebody would have told me that this whole year, 2025, was the year of the snake long before I saw it in my feeds over the last, I don't know, 2 months, that it was about shedding and outgrowing and moving forward. And what I've gained from my own experience and from far too many reels that I've watched is this whole growth. Snakes shed their skin because they've had growth. And this shedding is getting rid of things. And you've all heard the year-long purge. I feel like I'm closer to the end, but all of these things are creating space. They create the physical space and the emotional space for all that abundance that is coming to us. It's been a really long year. I remember the kids would go through an age, and I'm seeing it with my friends and their grandkids and stuff, and 11 seems to be a really long time. My daughter was 11 for a really long time, seemingly 3 years, and all the other years flew right by. 2025 has been that 3-year-long period, and it's getting ready to fly by. And we're entering into 2026, and it's gonna be the year of the horse, and there's a lot of boldness coming. So, finishing out the year and looking at the trends and working to not be a part of all of those trends. And one of the biggest connections that I've made in the end of 25 is getting back in with my theta group, my theta peeps. And it reminds me of some of the basic things that we learned in theta and that connection there and just really feeling that support. I have a lot of support with a lot of my other metaphysical practitioners, the shamans and the other healers and readers that I work with on a regular basis. But getting back into that theta circle, honoring that connection that I created years ago, it's just really amazing. And this all came to me when I was scrolling mindlessly and the whole tuning fork thing. Yeah, the 128 hertz. This is where we're at. This is all these things. We are in a time, in an era when there is so much energy, so many frequencies around us. No wonder we have record levels of inflammation and health issues and all of those things. And so we're tired, not because we're doing anything wrong, but we're just living out of rhythm with ourselves. And so however you find to really sink back in with that rhythm is really important. There's things like the overstimulation, being overstimulated by that constant device we have in our hand. Really cutting back on that, looking at what type of services you're connected to. I remember when microwaves came out, and that was just gonna be, you'd walk into a convenience store and there was a big sign on the door. The convenience store is in the back corner, but it's like, "Oh, you may be subjected to radio waves." And we were worried and we were concerned. Somehow we're not concerned with all the waves that we hold in our hand, we keep next to our phone, we keep in our pockets next to our body. Um, Be mindful. I don't wanna jump down that conspiracy hole because that one's a really deep one, and I'm guilty of having a phone too, but I spend more time with my phone away from me, and I look at those things. We have that constant input, creating you can't hardly watch a reel or a meme and not feel an emotional connection to it. We're tapping ourselves out. Those are things that are not our business, and so really consider that. There's nothing wrong with feeling tired or feeling overstimulated, but it does get in your way and it's not really part of you. So, in this year of shedding and letting go, we need to let go of those timelines, those pressures, those keeping up with the Joneses and start listening. And I think I talk about that frequently. It seems to be a really big point of getting in touch with your intuition and listening to your body. When you have a headache, why do you have a headache? Is it stress? Is it all the things that are around you? Is it those external stimuli? If what do you need to do to take care of that? When your body has pain, I look at that as its way of asking for your attention and asking for you to change things up, not necessarily reach for a pill. So there's the difference in how we move through things and how we find alignment. And so I encourage you to find that alignment, not just reaching for an aspirin for your headache, but looking at why you have the headache and creating alignment in your situation as to how you can decrease whatever it is that's causing your headache. If it is stress, how can you minimize that? If it is the overstimulation, the recently I've noticed a phenomenon in increase in migraines from looking at my screens. I do not like dark mode on my computer. It kind of drives me crazy because it's different. But my head says that's really important, and what's even more important is that I have less screen time. Now, I also did have a concussion this year, so, there's a lot of things that are in alignment. But when we find that alignment, I mean, life without a headache, that really brings in some clarity. And when you can identify those things, it's kind of like the elimination diet doctors always want us to do. You take everything out, and then you bring things back slowly until you identify what that trigger is. It's the same way in a lot of other things that we do in our stresses. If we can take a day off and then slowly go back into work and find out where it is that we're building up these stresses, and then finding what puts us in alignment, how we can still do the things that we have to do, and we can stay away from the things that don't align with us. So you don't get this clarity when you chase it. You get that clarity when you make space for it. So just really keep this in focus as we go into the new year. Um, if we want to look at the Chinese New Year and we look at all the conspiracies about how our calendar's been changed, I'm not ready to jump into January 1 with a complete and new face. It's another day on the calendar. It's another day to organize. It does not mean all of the hustle and bustle and throw everything out from 2025 and greet 2026 and create these resolutions that usually last until about February 7th statistically. And then they all go out the door. So I do a workshop on that, one bite at a time, just kind of how we reorganize things to make things manageable. That's also a lot of my coaching is to help you to identify what things are important and how we can take them one bite at a time. This creates the alignment because if you're looking at little pieces that add up to the big picture, it's far more manageable. And whether you work with me as a coach or another coach, or you just take this perspective into your life, as we're coming into a new year, think about that. When you force a change, it creates that resistance. When we force a resolution at the first of the year and we force ourselves to do things that just don't really meet, they don't align with us, it creates resistance and that's why they don't work. So create things that gel with your nervous system. How can you regulate things? How can you find things that are within your control and within your comfort zone? That's your body's natural intelligence that you can really expand on. And when you have that space of being grounded and centered and feeling well, you're going to grow. That momentum will just continue with everything else. So I encourage you to just slow down, feel your body because your body is telling you all of these things. And these are things that your mind probably forgot about. So increase your energy awareness. Feel where your energy is. We have the checkpoint when we talked about that elixir smoothie. What are the things that you put into your life? Those are the things you're going to get out of your life. Don't forget to breathe. Stop. Take a nice deep breath. Fill those lungs. I attended a seminar at Float Conference that talks about the structure of the human face has changed so much because we are taking such shallower breaths. Our whole structure has changed. And so many things in our body can be righted when we breathe in oxygen. So, yeah, there's all kinds of breath work. There's all kinds of things you can do. But most importantly, just take those deep breaths. Let out a sigh every once in a while. Let those pressures go. Release them from your body. And one of the things that I really enjoyed in reconnecting with my theta group was some of the healing practices and things that we did in our beginning classes. Some were theories that came up during our advanced classes and connecting back with how the whole theta practice just continues to evolve. And one of the things that really came to point for me was having the discernment to take all of the stuff that you're exposed to and only keep the parts that really work and resonate with you, that are in alignment. From the music that you listen to, the social media you scroll through, the the news, the books you read. I mean, how many times do you read something that mirrors the exact same thing of the last thing you read? Your social media algorithm is set up and it's going to keep exposing you to these things. Not all of those things are really valuable. Not all of those things contribute to you as being a whole person, to being the best person that you can be. So, one of the things that we work on is having that discernment to take into consideration all of the information that you've taken in over your life, especially over this past year, and let go of the parts of it that don't serve you, that are not in alignment with your values. Just because you read it, saw it, heard it, felt it, doesn't mean it's right for you. And when it didn't feel good, that should tell you that it's not right for you. So let's release this obligation for urgency that everything has to be done. Hurry up, quick, 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 quick. You don't have time to investigate or feel or search out the right answer to find out what's to you. Let's return to finding your own rhythm and only taking on those things that feel right for you at the time. And those things change. That urgency for me to rush out and learn and do and change the world were very different a few years ago than they are right now. So, being able to move at your own pace and what feels safe to you. So, as always, if you would like to have those theta healing beliefs, to release that urgency, to return to your own rhythm, and to find safety in moving at your own pace, I encourage you to say yes out loud, say yes in the comments. If you're catching this on a replay, just say yes out loud. You're going to get the work as well. This bring us into a better alignment and ability to release what doesn't serve us. So, and we'll do that forgiveness piece as well. If you'd like those, just say yes. Okay. Those felt pretty big today. Those are big changes. And being aware. You don't have to change everything tonight. Just notice the things that feel different and be able to say no and to stick with your no when something is not in alignment and keep searching for what is in alignment. Not with urgency, but just being and being comfortable in your own skin. This resonated with you, I welcome you to explore this work with me or with other providers in your own time and in your own way. You can contact me at amandabethhealing.com. I want to thank you so much for being here, for honoring your rhythm, and for allowing yourself to rest inside this moment. And then we have the announcements, the weekly announcements. So tonight on the Chronic Health Collective, Christy Boyd Johnson and Cable Jones are going to be talking about chaos to clarity, from chaos to clarity. And they're going to be joined by our own Andy and Minna as well to really talk about this clarity. And it's amazing um, what you can do with clarity when you set aside that chaos. And that kind of goes along with what we were talking about today. And then Friday night on chronic healthy, chronically healthy life. Andy and I are going to talk about explaining the science behind the metaphysical in Healing is Personal. And that'll be Friday night, January 2nd at 7 p.m. Central Time. Then for my January workshop, that will be happening. It's going to be the it's managing your time and how we set those New Year's resolutions. So you can join us on Friday, January 16th at Holistic Gypsies in Mount Pleasant. That'll be at 6:15. You can certainly learn more and get tickets at amandabethhealing.com/one bite. Goes along with the metaphor. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's how we take life, one bite at a time. So, and then on January 17th, I will be at the Midwest Metaphysical Tour in Quincy, Illinois, doing live readings. So I look forward to seeing you all at some point. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This will be up on Facebook, LinkedIn, and eventually out to YouTube so that you can catch the replays easily. Thank you.